Well. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. What a gloriously gloomy Tuesday morning this is from a very, very dark and dirty Helsinki, Finland. As always, want to be wishing you the best, and the happiest, and we got plenty to talk about today as Bitcoin did hit the 11,800-ish target that we spoke about from yesterday, and now backing off to the next relevant level to the downside. So where does it leave us up into today for a little bit of an interesting Tuesday? Well, there's going to be a lot on that topic, of course, plus more. Also did bring out the Forex Fortress yesterday for anyone who happens to give a fuck, and I'll be doing another video today as well, and probably all throughout this week, just the same sort of very brief analysis, probably around 10 minutes, maybe even less. I think yesterday was maybe my shortest video ever of all time, if you can believe it, and I'll be doing the same thing today, and just kind of like judging after that, if there's any interested in this in this sort of thing as well. So if you are a trader and if you are interested in Forex, definitely check it out. If not, then all good, no harm, no foul. Anyways, looking over here at the Krown application, which we found at app.krownchain.net, what do we see? We do see open interest is still above that 2.2 billion marker. So we'll just kind of keep an eye on that from now on, as we do expect that to kind of formulate a new range. Similar to what we saw throughout the last couple of months, about between the $1.9.5 billion marker to the $2.1.5 billion marker, which correlated with that price action range between about 10.1 to about 11,000. Obviously breaking that to the upside alongside open interest following through, alongside seeing historical volatility percentile also pop up, alongside seeing volume signature also pop up, alongside also seeing the culmination of an ascending triangle pop up, and also I believe it was a Bollinger Bands as well, all suggesting that this move is real, and I really don't have any major reason to believe that it's not as of right now. Anyways, looking at the Bitcoin dominance, what do we see? Still the same thing as of yesterday, so altcoins actually gained maybe a slight amount from the last time that we spoke about, but not much, and still holding a relative range. Looking at the Fear and Greed Index, also popping up about 4 points from a 52 to a 56, and in the data tab over here, I imagine that we will start to see a little bit of a different thing. So as this rally does go onwards and forwards, I do want to keep a keen eye on the Bitcoin global funding rate. It is currently at 0.05%, above 0.1. I do get a little bit, I start to look a little bit more for local tops perhaps. For example, the last time that we saw it go above 0.1 was actually right around here. This was quite literally correlated with the top at $12,500. I believe this was in August of this year. Looking at the futures premium over spot price action, pretty much the same as what we saw from yesterday, but overall it is gradually increasing over time, which is what you would expect with a breakout like we saw out of a month and a half long base. And what else do we see over here? This is very interesting. So while Femex was the outlier for quite some time with the funding rate, now it seems to me like FTX is the highest right here, but all of them all kind of crawling up. But still, for the majority of the pack, actually, it is going to be a standard 0.01% read, except for FTX and Femex right here, and a little bit of Deribit as well, getting about 0.02%. Again, not anything too crazy, but it does kind of shed light, or a little bit more of an intense light on this reads right here. It's still not a major consideration just yet. It's still not a major issue is what I'm trying to say. So let's go into the actual price action charts themselves, and let's follow up from yesterday. So yesterday we just generally said that Bitcoin is generally bullish here, still looking for a continuation target of about 11,800 based off of the measured move from this ascending triangle coming out of this base right here. And what do you know, sometimes that TA fucking hocus pocus bullshit bogus motherfuckers actually does work, and just needs to work a little bit in order to make enough money. So with this in mind right here, yes, we did hit the measure move. I would consider this close enough as far as that goes, as it did reach into the blue box territory right around about 11,750. Let's see exactly what it got to on this exchange. This is GDAX, by the way, 11,736. What about Mexico right here? 11,730, and that actually does correlate exactly wherever I have this horizontal coming in, and I'd imagine that they're probably mostly going to be the same. So for right now, I would be looking for a short-term pullback to likely pull this down a little bit lower, maybe somewhere back down around 11,350, somewhere around the 4-hour 21 exponential moving average right here. But no, I actually do not believe that Bitcoin's going to be breaking down. Now, while Bitcoin is basing off of the same liquid zone that Bitcoin was breaking out of yesterday, I actually don't look at this as anything too relevant for the short term. I actually do think that we're going to get maybe another swipe to the downside here, but as long as Bitcoin is essentially just trading sideways above 11,350-ish region, this is constructive, and this likely does get another try to the upside. And well, I'll spoil the surprise. When we look at traditional markets, well, you'll see why. Anyways, looking at this right now on the 4-hour, what do we see? We do see 4-hour Stokes coming all the way down, actually, since not even the high high, but actually coming down since this region right here. So that is probably the biggest, baddest thing to me, saying caution right now. But realistically, the way that I believe that this is likely to formulate itself is to just trade sideways where we are right now. Between about 11,350 and basically where we are right now at about 11.5, almost at 11.7 right there. And with that in mind, I'll just be looking for Bitcoin to kind of just be boring for a little bit of today. But the big focus is actually on the higher term timeframes here. The reason why I say that is because, well, when we go to the daily and 2-day, we can see that this is more or less continuation. So I actually do think that Bitcoin is going to be getting another try to the upside. And we should probably talk about what happens if Bitcoin actually does break above this current high that we have right here, and what would be needed to actually judge that. So first and foremost, a 4-hour dildo closure above our current high, or just anywhere above 11,700-ish region, probably good enough for continuation. And the next targets would be simply the same areas that were relevant in August of this year. It's the same shit that we were speaking about for the last couple of months. If Bitcoin did break to the upside, the 11.5 area would be relevant, the 11.8 area would be relevant, and then a little bit above 12,000 right here, which I actually have at $12,050, and this should actually be a liquid zone all the way up to about 2,100 even right here would be the next target if Bitcoin actually does take out this level to the upside. Now, am I saying that that's going to happen today or tomorrow? I don't know about that. That's not really in my wheelhouse. I don't think that you can actually like time, or you can't really say something like that. But what you can say is just going level by level. Yes, I'd be using the 11.7 pivot right here as kind of a governor for that. For the downside, I really don't put much weight on this region right here. The big weight that I'd be having on this downside would actually be right here, right around about 11,350, or maybe let's just make it 11.3-ish region, just because it's a little bit easier to say. And as long as Bitcoin's above there, likely does play out of range, likely does trade a little bit sideways, but I actually would still remain overall bullish on this, looking for another high on this run. When we go back here to the daily, what do you see? Whoops, let's take everything off. There we go. We basically just went on a backfill of yesterday's open, actually. Maybe not all the way back down there. It was technically 11.375. We got down to 11.420 today. Pretty damn close. You could make the argument that we've already kind of hit that move and are playing out that backfill right now. But realistically, the way that this is set up is as continuation. Daily RSI is very constructive over here, as we've been saying for the last couple months. And this is looking like it is the time to actually be paying attention, as we said last week. Now, with that in mind, Bitcoin getting its first, or sorry, maybe, sorry, how exactly do I want to relate this concept? The RSI getting its first push into the bullish control zone after being away from it since literally August, so 2 months ago about now, likely does push back a little bit right here. So that's why I do think that Bitcoin probably trades, sideways for a day or two and resets a bit. But long term, as far as the daily, 2-day, and 3-day go, and I'll go onto the 2-day right here. Yes, I'd actually be looking for this one to make a new high on this run. I'll just say right straight up there. And any sort of a 2-day little closure above 11,650, wherever this last little hump is right here. Yep, 11,650-ish region, and I'd be looking for that for probably a move actually even above 12,000 bucks, probably 12,100 up to that next liquid zone that we just see. That's also that would also very likely drag up the 10 simple above the 21 exponential average right here. And long term, we've actually seen that as a pretty nice cross. So this is kind of the next one that I'm keeping an eye on right now. Speaks more towards a short-term momentum, but when we are on a 2-day, that is relatively I wouldn't say high time frame for Bitcoin, but it's up there, right? A weekly I'd consider a high term time frame, or sorry, in a monthly and macro, obviously. Anyways, in this case right here, what do we see with this cross as it is kind of looming overhead? Again, if Bitcoin closes anywhere today above 11,300 especially, it will certainly happen. Or actually, sorry, it will not happen because we don't get a closure today. It will happen tomorrow night. Yes, indeed it will. And you can kind of go over the history of time and see what this one's done. Obviously right here, terrible, absolutely terrible. But once it did cross the downside, it did kind of tell you to sell this area, which did produce a nice about $1,000 move to the downside right on over here. A little bit of a fake out as well, but once you get that divergence play on it and it actually does start to scoot its way up, well, there's a big bad move out of this base right here. Same thing for this base right here to the upside, same thing for this base right here to the downside, same thing for this base right up here to the upside again. These are all multi-$1,000 moves. A little bit of a fake out right here, so it's not perfect as is anything. Imagine if we put on something a little bit more, fuck it, I don't even want to do it right now. Realistically, it does, what it's really suggesting is that if these two guys do cross up bumping up, above each other, then this area right here, basically that $11,000 region that we broke out of on Friday, would become the next major pivot on the market. So basically what I'd say on top of that is that as long as Bitcoin's above 11,000 on a time frame like this, I am just basically looking for Bitcoin to move its way upwards and onwards towards 12,000 and probably beyond. Looking at momentum oscillators here for the 2-day, we do see that it is still very much pointed north on 2-day Stokes, 2-day RSI. What do we see over here? Similar to the daily, constructive over a long period of time. Short term, probably a little bit of pulley back action. And what do we see on the 3-day as well? Because I do remember seeing something here. Nope, I don't see shit here. Don't see shit, Captain. So there you go. Let me put back on all of these babies right here. And I think it's also going to be important to go reflect upon CMEs right now as well at 11,550-ish region. Let's go over here to a daily. And what do you know? Do you call this a backfill already? Wouldn't say it necessarily just yet. But more importantly, we do have an ascending triangle breaking out to the upside. Would say that it's already met its measure move right here. And what does that imply? Essentially, it implies that this breakout is real because you are getting a major gap. Well, I wouldn't say a major, but a nice gap up above the breakout point. And you are seeing follow through on price action. All of that is relatively good. And I would be looking for this to likely have more. And again, that does once again line up with this $11,000 pivot right here as being a big bias within this market. So as long as Bitcoin's above there, I'm generally just bullish, I guess you could say. Bitcoin starts to break back down below there, then yes, we got problems. And of course, on the lower term timeframes, I would also judge this a little bit more in advance with any sort of a 4-hour total closure below, let's call it 11.3. Let's just call it 11.300. Technically, it's 11.350, but I think 11.300 is just easier to say. So yes, like putting all the puzzle pieces together, short term, Bitcoin bullish as long as it's above 11.300. On a 4-hour total closing basis. Personally speaking, I think it's just going to trade sideways here and try to get to the upside. I mean, this is pretty par for the course on Bitcoin we've seen. And if it does break below 11,300-ish region on a 4-hour closure, even a 2-hour total closure probably does it as well. Let me double check. Yeah, it probably does. Then I would be looking for another retest down to $11,000 base. $11,000 base is where the long-term areas come into contact, though. If Bitcoin starts to break below there, then problems. But as long as above, as long as above there on a daily schedule and above, more or less fine as far as I'm concerned. And just playing out nice little pullbacks after after that measure move has been hit. With that in mind, I do now want to talk a little bit more about the upside here because it's a little bit more interesting. Anyways, actually, I should probably follow up on this as well. Didn't we see a jewel? So we did see the jewel buy signal here on the 7th of October. I was pretty skeptical about this one, but it ended up working out as we did get a positive slope on all these. And as always, got to shout out the people who are actually making money on that one. Fucking cavaliers of traders you are. But again, yesterday we were just breaking above this fib right here, which was also giving me the bias that we're probably going to head up a little bit higher. And in this case right now, I would still say that this one probably has a little bit more to go just based off of that. And I'd be looking for somewhere around the critical zone on this one for the next sort of a local high within this region, as it does typically like to put in highs around that region long term. Not anything too scientific here, but you do see all major highs over the last few years, or really if we go all the way back to the Genesis, you could probably find most of these putting in around this region somewhere in the critical zone. Usually accompanied by some sort of divergence, and then actually on a lower term time frame does give a sell signal, which leads into a greater sell signal on the higher term time frames a little bit later after the high. Actually doesn't typically get the highs on those reads. But as it is right now, is there anything else to be aware of right here? Yes, we do see historical volatility percentile still in the context of trying to expand from a very low level right now, and I think that it's important to reflect upon the lower term time frames as well, because this is obviously going to work together naturally. And look at what we look at exactly what we were looking at fucking yesterday. We were looking at this yesterday, getting extremely low right here, getting a single digit reads on multiple ticks alone. And what is that going to suggest, especially coming into the real trading week? Well, we're probably going to get a move, and in that case right there, there's your fucking move right there. So again, historical volatility percentile, very, 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 very powerful. And this is no different. And I still look at this as an overall expansion phase. So while that was a short-term contraction right there, the long-term is expansion, and that likely does spill on over into the daily as well over time. Of course, over time. This is not happening like maybe today, but that would suggest that if this expands from here, as Bitcoin does put in a macro low, especially on a weekly, as we did already kind of talk about this yesterday, alongside the 21 expansion average above 10,000, then that expansion phase likely does come with an explosion to the upside. And when we we look at traditional markets, well, I think that that's going to be, well, I'll let you make the decision for yourself. I think it's important for me to kind of just give out the analysis in the most dry way possible and try my hardest not to give out my stupid fucking opinion, because my opinion is irrelevant. I don't even trade my opinion. I trade technical analysis. But when you're on YouTube, you might as well talk a little bit of shit. Anyways, looking at a weekly right here to reflect upon the higher term timeframes as well. This is where I really want to be spending some time, because while the lower term timeframes do have some nice ranges here, and while there is a lot of opportunity on them, once again, because the ranges are so big, the higher term timeframes are what I'm looking for, because I do believe that we're in just a long term range in general. So maybe not first and foremost, but whoops, hey, get the fuck off there. Jesus Christ, man, I'm revealing like the code of my EMA indicator. By the way, it's just fucking 5 different EMAs and I guess it's not 2, but it's 4 simple moving averages. That's all that it is, and it's fucking free. You can go get it yourself. It's very strange to see some of the ideas that people come up with out there in the world. This is like literally just EMAs put on top of each other. That's all. Anyways, okay, so what do we see over here? Yeah, the yellow 20-minute exponential moving average on the weekly. And anytime that Bitcoin's been above it, and it also has a positive slope on the macro, it is, well, just traditionally bullish. All going all the way back to the genesis at 2012 or 2011 back here. What do you see? Bitcoin's above it, has a positive slope, keeps you along all the way from $5 to $1,000. Not bad. Turns to the downside right here, gets the bear market, turns the upside right here, gets the bull market all the way from 250 to about $20,000, gets the bear market in 2018 and beyond. And in 2019 turns it back up all the way from 4,000 to 14,000, and then more recently right on over here from the flip above about 8,000, which is where we started to get macro bullish. And Bitcoin does put in yet again another low alongside the 21, by the way, above 10,000, putting in the longest time it's ever spent above 10,000 at the same time, and it still maintains a positive slope, actually even increasing in its curvature here. And that is coming along the side of likely weekly stokes crossing back up to the upside. Not only that though, these weekly stokes are crossing back up to the upside very likely. Very likely they are going to do that, but more importantly, they are also going to hold on to the bullish control zone, that is something in and of itself, saying that we're probably going to spend some time in here. I already have this trend line drawn in right here, coming in from the last few lows of October 2019 and then December 2019. That was this low right here and this low right here. And well, to me, this looks like it wants to go upwards and onwards. Also pairing that up with the weekly RSI. This is incredibly constructive within this whole going all the way back to about April, May of 2019 to where we are right now. I would be looking for this next tick to really actually try to actually stay within the bullish control zone for a while. If that happens, that will be the next big thing for myself, really looking at this as likely to, and I really want to save my language here, because, people fucking talk on the internet all day long about Bitcoin to fucking 20,000 today, Bitcoin to 5,000 today, Bitcoin's mooning, Bitcoin's dooming, Bitcoin's doing imminent shit right now. It's like, what the fuck? For more often than not, it's boring bullshit like this. I mean, Jesus Christ. But if that were to happen, plus Bitcoin also closing this next weekly above 11.5, I'm going to get very bullish long term, and I'm kind of already there, I guess. But for right now, I still want to see that condition met as a trader. Okay, we already looked at momentum oscillators here. We already looked at RSI. We looked at, there's nothing on the Joule. There's nothing really elsewhere. Also, the 0.5 but 11,500 region, always going to be relevant. In this area, as you've seen over the past 3 years now, going all the way back to January 2018, has been a major inflection point on this market. This is actually a concept called institutional order flow dynamics, which are at play right here. And anytime that you see something like this, where Bitcoin or whatever the fuck asset that you're looking at rejects from an area like this and just plays out catastrophic lows from it multiple times for years on end, in this case right here, right here, right here, right here, and right here, well, that is usually going to be a major area of contention, meaning that if all of, or not all, but if some big institutions, some big players basically who are causing this sort of price action in that region stop defending that area, then we're likely to expect that something, is going to explode on the other side, of course. But as you can see over the past 3 years, this has been the area of major rejections. Big boys getting their short fills within that region and running it the other way incredibly fast from with like 50% meltdowns and more in some cases. That is catastrophic price action. So getting back above it would be a major change of behavior. Also, the 0.5 fib exists right there. And if we were to throw in the volume profile, you can see that, well, above this current area, even above 11, or what is this exactly about 11.8? Yeah, above 11.8 on a weekly. It's complete change of behavior. And technically speaking, we actually already did that in this year, actually in August, when Bitcoin closed above 11.5 for the first time in 3 years, actually. So to me, that was actually the big inflection point. And ever since then, we have been macro bullish on this, like in a more trending aspect. And right now, the trend is your friend. And I mean, that is quite literally a higher low right there. And if we do start to print a higher high above it with any sort of a weekly closure above that region, then, well, your weekly is quite literally in the motion of trending. And this is further verified by looking at the even higher term timeframes like the monthly and bi-monthly, of which the monthly right here looking just looking like it's kind of flagging out at a high level. With momentum also still pointed north. We do see monthly Stokes deep inside the bullish control zone and looking nice and erect. We do see monthly RSI. More importantly, this is really good right here. Very good. I would even identify this as an inverted head and shoulders coming off the lows as well. And this is just a constructive read, consolidating around the bullish control zone. The next tick inside the bullish control zone is going to be very important. I'll say more than that. I like to operate in, if that happens, then this. And if that were to happen, I would be looking for extension at the very least to 14,000, probably beyond. Looking at the bi-monthly, which by the way is going to be closing at the end of this month. So it's going to be the highest term time frame closing in the next couple of weeks. So it's still, kind of far away anyways. But looking at this right here, what do you see? We basically got a backfill on the last bi-monthly open and nice and uppy after that, while momentum also does turn up as well. Here's a bi-monthly Stokes. Here's a bi-monthly RSI, actually getting fully inside the bullish control zone as well. So all these things working together does make me think that we likely do see this extend onwards and upwards. And just kind of referencing the quarterly as well, which obviously is not going to be closing this month. We just got a new one in October. This is good. This is good. Did we close on new highs on the quarterly too, above July 2019 highs or April 2019? That's 10,760. We closed here 10,780 actually. So technically yes, although just barely. Momentum also is obviously headed north here as well, but a little bit more under pressure. And quarterly RSI right here back to the bullish control zone 2, which all happened in October, at beginning of October. So all of these things work together, of course. And basically I would be, kind of summarizing my thoughts here. Short term, sideways, maybe even a little bit of down. As long as 11.3 doesn't break, I'm basically looking for this one to reaccumulate within this region and give another try to the upside. Any move above our current high on this run at 11,731 and 3/4. And let me just see, are we in the TA nerd session right now? We are. Okay, nice. Okay, so here's the thing. I do think that you could actually be rather aggressive with this, and you could probably be aggressive by taking out the last high of yesterday. If that does happen at 11,731 and 70 cents, this is on GDEX, or sorry, this is actually on Stamp, by the way, but they're all around the same area, then I would look for extension towards a little bit above 12,000 bucks. Technically speaking, that's a little bit more of an aggressive way. The more conservative way would be to wait for a 2-hour or 4-hour delta closure above, let's call it just 11.7. But it's looking, I'd imagine that's more of a formality if Bitcoin were to get back to that level. Again, below 11.3, I'm looking for a move to $11,000 base and likely a bounce there as well. And then here's the thing, let's go reference traditional markets really quick, because we got NASDAQ right here. Jesus Christ, man, powerful move. Very powerful move. We did say that there was going to be a target yesterday of about 12,000. It actually exceeded that target all the way up to 12.2. It looks like now basing off of that 12,000, basing off that $12,000 pivot. So the way that I look at this now is actually this is likely to maneuver onwards, probably to new all-time highs from this region. To be fair, we're going to see weekly Stokes probably pop back up, also hold on the bullish control zone. All the whilst it is technically speaking, if it were to close right here, it would be on new weekly closing highs and weekly RSI constructed back into the bullish control zone. All of these things are good. I do look for this to likely make new all-time highs. If this makes new all-time highs with basically everything else fucking correlated with it, what do you think is going to happen? Probably Bitcoin makes new highs on this run as well. Going down here to a daily, yes, if it does want to pull back all the way down to like 11,850, that's fine, but I'd be looking for a bounce there. My main disposition here is that it's as long as it's above 11,800 or 11,850, I'm very long-term bullish. As long as it's above 12,000 right here on a daily closure, I am short-term bullish as well. In fact, if we go down to the lower term time frames, like a 4-hour, it does look like it wants a little bit of a pullback here actually on the 4-hour. Again, down to about 11.8 or 11.9 would be fine, but I'd be looking for a bounce there. As long as it's closing dailies above 12,000, I'm basically looking for this one to reapproach its prior high and probably exceed it. I mean, this is good price action right here. So again, maybe a little bit of short-term down. It's kind of like Bitcoin. I don't really have a strong opinion on it, but I'd be looking for that more than anything as an opportunity for some more upside pleasures. Anyways, let's go check out SPY futures. Same thing right here. Exceeded our target yesterday by just a hair, a ball sack hair above 35.20ish region. Saying for 35.20, got up to about 35.40ish region, and it's kind of playing in the same sort of liquid zone right here too, which I'll just put in a nice little boo box in the same sort of interpretation from what we just looked at basically on NASDAQ. Short term, does it want to play, a short term down all the way down to like 34.90? That wouldn't be problematic. I don't have a strong opinion if it does or doesn't. The 4-hour does look maybe a little bit slightly short-term toppy sloppy, but long term, this one's looking like it actually probably does reapproach the prior high at 35.80ish region. In fact, that actually is where the inverted head and shoulders measure move is. And in fact, where's the inverted head and shoulders measure move on my NAS charts right here? Let's just do a very bad one and just just shove it in there, and that's actually pointed up directly towards the prior high right there. So actually, we do have something pointed a little bit higher. And if I did have to call it right now, do I think that that's going to get hit? Yes, I do. Do I think it's going to get exceeded? Probably yes, and probably new all-time highs. So overall, reaccumulation after a major down like that, there's your fucking answer. Basically, there you go. And that likely does spill on over to Bitcoin as well. So if I did have to call it right now, do I think, all markets are basically going to be rallying? Probably yes. Probably yes. And that means that all these bullshit over here, Tesla, Apple, Microsoft, not bullshit obviously, but they're probably going to be doing the same. Maybe not Tesla though. Tesla is like really, really lagging here. What about Apple? Apple probably doing the same, probably back up to 129 region. What about Microsoft? Already kind of got up to that same region. Maybe another try back up to like 227, 226 region, but it's all the same really. The markets are in concert right now, moving up, and tech's once again at the helm, leading the charge to the upside. It looks like. Just taking a quick look at all of our other major bourses. Russell 2000 also making its way towards our topside target of around 1680ish region. Still looking for that to get hit long term. Short term looking good as well. Maybe does play out a short term downside move to 1620, but long term up. NYA, same thing here. Still looking for 13800, 13900. Short term maybe plays out a short-term downside to 13150, but long-term up. Triple Qs, what do we see here? This one basically trading with NASDAQ actually looking really fucking good. What do you say to that? Maybe a short-term down back down to like 290-ish region, or maybe even 288. But I'd still be looking at that as an opportunity as well. Long-term, these are mostly constructive here, so it's good to see a lot of the market really in unison. And also do want to check out the tech sector here too. Yeah, looking good. And Bitcoin does seem to really trade like a tech, and even gold gets to go up as well. Maybe I'll save this one for Forex land. But this one actually, I think I'll save that for Forex actually, because there is some interesting stuff right here. Maybe I can go into more of a deep dive there. Let's go check out Mr. Beater really quick, and then we'll call it a day. Where's Mr. Beater? Where are you little fuckface? There you are. Found you. All right, 384 region, and we did say that yesterday if Bitcoin moves the upside, 390 would be the target. That's already been hit. Even 395 region, of which I believe I have, yes, a nice little beautiful horizontal right there, and we get to play off this region right now. Any sort of a move above yesterday's high or a 4-hour delta closure above 395, and look for extension on this run towards about 410 short term. Actually, right around here it'd be about long term though. I'd actually be looking for a move all the way back to like 440. Motherfucker, man. Very, 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 very short term. Does one want to play out a little bit of a pullback? Could play out a pullback all the way down to like 375. It's the same thing as Bitcoin. I don't really have a strong opinion on that. I'd be looking for it to get picked up there though. So with that in mind, I'll go back on over here to Bitcoin. Oh shit, I forgot to cover on this one as well. This is maybe the easiest and most important thing of the day too, and it's like right at the very end of this video. But you know what? Only for the TA nerds, my friend. Only for yous. It's you and I. Join hands, my friends, and let's just look at this beautiful chart. It's so simple, so elegant, and as long as Bitcoin's closing daily totals above the top side 200 band, we're in the process of trending. Direction is up. That's it. We've seen this, going all the way back to Friday of last week, and that was basically driving my biases for seeing continuation upwards and onwards before seeing a major pullback. And daily MACD starting to lose a little bit of its histogram strength right there, but more importantly, it did actually blast above that critical $11,000 level while also getting above the zero read right here, and also showing, and also a histogram increasing all at the same time. I mean, this is textbook stuff for an actual breakout to confirm it. Also seeing the DMI and ADX over here, very, 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 very good reads, as we do see the DMI plus dominant plus the ADX is strengthening all above the threshold. I'm generally bullish here. Short term doesn't want to play a pullback, maybe down to like 11,350 or 11,300. That would be fine. I don't have a strong opinion on that. I'd be looking at that as an opportunity. Long term, I'm still looking for this one to actually probably pop back up towards 12,000. I'll just say right there in the TA note session, that's my personal opinion. And I have gotten rid of my call spread, or sorry, not my call spread, but my what the fuck was it? A straddle, my long straddle from last week, and that was quite a nice one. So there you go. One of the few times I will buy premium, gone now. Don't want to fucking hold it to expiration. Go fuck yourself. and I'd rather just play spot or not spot, but perps here. So with that said, I think I'll be shutting this one off right now. I want to wish you the best, and the happiest once again. Take care, and maybe I'll see you at the Forest Fortress. All right, salute you.